I just want people to have that freedom to be themselves. And I think, let's call it the non-binary landscape. It's very vast, right? It is very vast. And it's really this catch-all for so many different identity, right? Some people under the non-binary umbrella might identify as genderqueer. Some people don't. Some people might identify as agender. Some people might identify as gender fluid. Some people might identify with non-binary because that feels very much as in, I don't fit in the binary. Yes. Whereas other people really don't like the label non-binary because it's a negative and they want something that's affirming of their gender. So really, this is just a label. And what I'm hoping that people take away when they ask that question of what does non-binary mean, it just means that there are more gender than two, basically. That's my simplest definition, that since time immemorial, across time and space, whenever I give presentations like all across the globe, all across time and space, we've had people who don't fit the gender binary, which means that they're not just two genders, right? And we could talk more about this gender binary as a product of satellite colonialism and white supremacy, but I feel like that would be a whole different conversation, which I'm happy to have. But I kind of want to put a pin in that because I think it's important for people also to have that awareness. So non-binary is just this kind of really vast umbrella. So when somebody tells you they're non-binary, you don't actually know very much about their gender, apart from the fact that they do not identify somewhere within the gender binary. That is pretty much all you know. You don't know what pronouns they use. You don't know how they're going to present. You do not know their gender assigned at birth. You can make guesses. We're humans. We like to put things in tidy boxes and categorize people, which is why sometimes more liminal identities challenge people, It's like, well, what gender are you? And kind of what is the accent and where do you come from, right? We try to put people in like little boxes so that we can figure out, are you aligned with me or are you not aligned with me?
Like me, not like me, friend or foe.
Exactly, right? Very, very human to do that. But when somebody says I'm non-binary or I'm on a non-binary spectrum, you really don't know very much. So you can't assume that they're going to use they, them pronouns or another neopronoun. And, there are so many neopronouns that I can't even think of one right now because there are so many.
I commonly will use as example the pronoun Z, just to kind of illustrate for folks. Sometimes you see XE, sometimes you see ZE, and you're right, there's so many more. The good news is I have a little bonus in this series that talks about pronouns. It's not exhaustive at all. You can go on Google any day of the week and you will find more pronouns.
I know. I was thinking about Z and then I was like, oh my God, this is like, I think 20 years old now. Could we still call it a neopronoun? Because
it's not new.
People are so creative that they come up with different pronouns all the time. There's the pronoun per from person, which actually some of my older kind of fellow trans travelers are like, oh, we've been using this since like the 70s. It just never really caught on very much, So actually this idea of other pronouns or neopronouns has always existed as well. So you can't assume somebody's using they, them pronouns. Sometimes they might be using he or she as well as other pronouns. You can't assume that they're going to be androgynous in some way, you can't assume that their gender expression is going to be different than their gender assigned at birth or not. And I think that unsettles people,